All right, guys, episode 4 of our video Q&A series. This week, I'm going to go over and talk to John at Summit Rehab and Wellness Center about strongman training for athletes, why it may or may not be a good thing to do. It's really popular right now with a lot of high schoolers, football players, wrestlers, a bunch of different athletes are really using a lot of strongman stuff. Also some CrossFit things we're seeing a lot, and for athletes, might touch on that a little bit too. I'm going to go over there and talk to him, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about how that all comes together for like energy system training for athletes. What are the different energy systems of the body that are utilized during sport performance, and how is it important to train different ones, and what does it look like for the different ones to be trained. So we'll go over there and talk to John, and he's going to clue us in a little bit about strongman training for athletes. All right, so here we are over here at Summit Rehab and Wellness Center with John, and so he's going to talk a little bit about strongman for athletes, training, good, bad, why not? Let's do it.
Microphone? No microphone.
That's a question we get asked a lot. We get after we're finished rehabbing, especially our high school and college athletes, we get asked, what about this local CrossFit gym? What about, I see guys flipping tires, I see guys doing log presses, sledgehammers, all that kind of stuff, and it's really kind of the new in thing to do is to do strongman training, do CrossFit training as a way to condition and to prepare yourself for sports. Being a strongman athlete, obviously, I love the lifts, I love strongman, I love CrossFit. I think it can have its place in general fitness and weekend warriors and people just trying to improve their fitness, but for athletes that are playing a sport and preparing for their sport, I don't think it has any place at all. To be honest, movements like tire flips
that are
complicated movements, even while we're at it, even Olympic lifting to a degree. I think that it's just the risk versus reward ratio is just not very good at all, and so I think I think used properly with advanced athletes with submaximal weights, that it could be helpful to a degree, but for the most part, especially with your younger, not as advanced athletes with not as good motor control, I just think it doesn't have a very good place.
What about strongman competing, training, the different energy systems? Is it mostly lactic? Is it anaerobic? Is it aerobic? For me, I feel like it's a mix of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Probably a mix of the 3 main ones: lactic, and aerobic.
Yeah, and that's just it, and that's one of the things that makes strongman so challenging is and unique is you have to be able to move maximal loads, very, very, very heavy loads. You have to be able to move heavy loads for a specific period of time, and you have to have the conditioning to be able to make it through an 8-hour day of doing this stuff. So we kind of touch on all 3 of those energy systems, and it's tough. One thing I wanted to mention too, and this is probably my biggest argument against strongman or CrossFit as a strength and conditioning tool for athletes is these are sports. Strongman is a sport, CrossFit is a sport. You wouldn't go try to train a football player by having him play baseball. It's just that makes no sense to anybody. Why would we use the sport of
the simplest way to think of it like that?
Why would we use strongman? Why would we use CrossFit, which are sports, to try to train you for another sport? Go play your sport.
Easy enough.
Brings
me back to what I wanted to talk about and finish this video with. So I want to talk about the energy systems of the body. Mostly 3 energy systems that are utilized during sports, during training, during fitness participation. We have the anaerobic system and the aerobic system, and then within that anaerobic system, it's broken down to 2 different parts. We have the alactic, or the ATP-CP system, which are activities that last up to about 10 seconds or so. So within that range, we have most sports will fall into that category. Think football, think baseball, think track and field events, throws, discus shot throws, short sprints, jumps. volleyball, softball. A lot of those are alactic sports, short bursts followed by longer rest periods. And then the second anaerobic system is the lactic or glycolytic system. This is the system that produces lactic acid. It lasts from 10 seconds to roughly a minute or so in duration. That can be a little variable there. Think lactic system, 200 meter, 400 meter sprints, track and field. Think some of your longer swimming events. Think of those things that are anything longer than 10 seconds, not commonly found in the typical team sport environment. So it's a little less common than the alactic system as well as the aerobic system. And then, so now your aerobic system is roughly anything over a minute or so that requires oxygen to continue to fuel the muscles and perform. This is a wider variety of things and events in sports, anywhere from running middle to long distance to longer swimming events, but it also has a strong place in all athletes. The aerobic system needs to be developed to a certain point to be able to withstand the rigors of long practices, multiple games in one day, double headers, some of those things. They all require a strong, well-built aerobic system to get through those things. But it's important to think of what energy system goes along with the sport that you play, specifically your position in that sport too. Think about what energy system is taking place, what you're utilizing there, and train that energy system specifically for your sport. All right, so there's a little bit of a breakdown of some different energy systems in the body. Hope that made sense to you guys. If it didn't, feel free to ask questions. I like to talk about this stuff. I can go on and on for hours about these energy systems of the body. So thanks again to John for his contributions here. It's a really important topic that we deal with quite a bit, and so I wanted to address it a little bit the best we could. So again, hope it made sense. Send us your questions for next week. We got episode 5 coming up next week. Send us your questions, tweet us at Comp Strength, look us up on Facebook, Complete Strength Gym, or you can always email info@livestrength, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.